Hello and welcome to the Arkansas Sports Network as we've got a special interview for you today. I really didn't have this one on my bingo card, but we've got Indiana Pacers second-round pick Taelon Peter here with us at Russellville High School Gymnasium Arena here, and really cool because this is really where it all started for you.
Oh, yeah. One of the places it all started.
Right.
Yep, one of the places it definitely started to gain traction for sure.
I would say that's a really good point right there because your senior year, the first thing I heard about you as a senior was you're a high jumper, right?
Yep.
What, 6'11"? Was that your highest?
6'10".
6'10"?
My junior year.
Right. I mean, people were talking about you kind of maybe looking that route as a possibility of being – whatever you're going to do in college or whatever was you're going to be a track star. You're going to be a high jumper, right?
Yes, sir.
And then the basketball thing began to take off. But let's go back. You started, just bring me to here because I know that there was a time that you were at Russellville, then you were at Alma, then you were at Russellville. Tell us how all that worked out.
That part's kind of simple. I was at Russellville. I'm a late bloomer. I have been my whole life, and my first year at Russellville wasn't the best on the court. Obviously, I had all my friends and everything, but I had an opportunity to go play basketball with my blood cousin, and I took that opportunity. It was great. I learned a lot. Some people say I came back with a jumper, but after that experience, I decided to come back and finish off what I started here at Russellville High School.
And you came back as a senior, and it all just kind of came together for Russellville, not just for you, but for the team. Like years and years of not being all that successful, some patterns of, a few years here and there, they'd have some success. Back here we've got a Corliss Williamson jersey up there.
Yep.
And they had some big-time success at that point. One of the top teams not only in the state but in the nation. But Russellville was kind of dormant up until that point when Kyle Pennington came in. He changed the culture, and here you are now. You guys you're a senior, and it all just kind of comes together at one time. Tell us a little bit about what went on behind that scene as far as that team, but then also with you. Here's the thing that I saw when I was covering you. I've never seen a kid – probably since Corliss, that come in and was so athletic, come in, and I was telling Brad, I was like, I had all kinds of videos of you. I remember one, you were playing DeQueen, and you missed a free throw and just come and got your own rebound and dunked it off the free throw, and I'm like, what just happened? It was something to see. This gym started getting filled up. Tell us about that whole process and what that was like for you.
It started in like second grade, a bunch of guys growing up together playing AAU basketball. We started, shout out to Troy Norton. He had the little Cyclones when we were in second grade when I moved to town, and he allowed us to all play together, and I think it started then. We had a bunch of guys play on that team that graduated that same year. They were on that senior class team with the Cyclone. So it started in second grade. We got to play summer ball together. We played summer ball all the way up until we couldn't play anymore together. And then every year on the court, I had an absence, my junior year, but I came back and, I was just playing with guys that I grew up playing basketball with. So it was a special moment being able to find success that senior year, just feeling like everything we had worked for, literally growing up, paid off in some sense. We didn't get the outcome we wanted, but it was a special moment to be able to do that with those guys.
Yeah, that team was a special team. Maybe was it the first conference champion in a while, or second one maybe?
Second one.
It was right there, and and it was a run there of 3 or 4 years in a row that Russellville won the conference. And again, it hadn't happened in so long that people just weren't used to that. But again, they weren't used to seeing a guy like you on the court. And, I don't know if we're hoping that the Pacer fans will get this as well, but I don't know if people understand really about the athleticism that you have. I mean, you're shooting 45% from three, which is something that did develop as you went through high school. But the athleticism that you have, I mean, you're a high flyer. I mean, we talked about the 6'10" jumper. That was where you started, was the high flying. I remember at one point counting you had over 50 dunks your senior year. I mean, it was an inordinate amount of dunks. And I mean, you really electrified the Cyclone Nation and just Arkansas in general. I mean, this was something that was gaining traction throughout the state.
Absolutely. I would definitely say, through high school, I was the athlete that got a bunch of dunks, and as I've grown through college, I've developed a jump shot, and now on scouting reports, I'm more of a shooter, and I kind of surprise people with my athleticism. So it's interesting how things have kind of come full circle, but yeah, it's a blessing, man. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is something you've been under the radar now for so long, even up into the point of Thursday, when I had no idea that you were even going to get drafted. Like, it wasn't on my radar. The only thing I did see was your father-in-law put out that you were working out for teams. When I was like, whoa, okay. I had no idea that your name was going to get called. So we want to get to that first. But let's talk about your walk to get to this point. So you started at Tennessee Tech. Tell us what happened at Tennessee Tech and that brought you back here to Arkansas Tech.
Yeah. First of all, I want to give all the credit, for everything that I've overcome and went through. All glory to God. Without Him, I wouldn't be here. And not just the highs, the lows, like you said, Tennessee Tech. I would say great learning experience for me. Moving 7.5 hours away from home for the first time and going out and not getting the things that I wanted off the rip was definitely something that in the time I didn't think, I questioned, and it made me doubt myself, and it took me to a place, that I learned a lot. But all that to say, it was just a storm God put me through, that in the moment I didn't know why, but now I'm able to see, why I had to go through what I went through to get to the point I'm at now. So Tennessee Tech, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change anything that happened. It was great, a great experience, some great coaches that I still talk to this day. But yeah, it was definitely a learning experience for me.
So you go from Tennessee Tech to Arkansas Tech. Nobody knows about Arkansas Tech but people that are around here, right? I mean, especially sports-wise. I mean, there's been some success through the years, but you're talking about a Division II school. And when you came into Arkansas Tech, it wasn't like you were setting the world on fire there. I mean, you were coming around, you got some playing time, but I don't know that anybody sat here and looked at you and said, well, that's an NBA draft pick.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what happened when you first came to Arkansas Tech. How did you get from the point that you started where, lowest of lows at Tennessee Tech to where you became the player of the year in the conference? How did you get to that point?
Yeah, it was honestly God humbling me and telling me that we're going to get it His way. So I went from thinking I got where I was because of me, and I got put down to, back home, ground zero basically to Arkansas Tech, where, I was like, okay, bet. So I put my head down, put my nose down, and I grinded, for those 3 years and got it slowly but surely. But the main focus was building a foundation, building a community around a team of people, getting back around my people that held me accountable and kept me grounded, that allowed me to focus on basketball and develop my game over the 3 years that I was there, and just them instilling confidence in me every single day and pushing me to be better and better, is ultimately what led to the success later on in my career at Arkansas Tech. And
you are one that, I mean, now looking at this, the COVID year was absolute blessing for you, right? I mean, you get an extra year of school because of that, and that ended up being what set you to where you're at right now.
I mean, it's hard for me to explain, but it's easy. It's God,
Right.
It's God. He knew what was happening this whole time. I don't know how else to explain it.
So I want to touch on that a little bit because you keep referring to God. Was that, and I know as a young person, you don't feel like you have to depend on God for different things, but like as you get older and you mature, you understand that you need God more and more and more. Is that something that kind of happened with you as well?
Absolutely. I knew Christ in high school. I go to church camp. I do all the things. I go to church, do all the things. But it was when, I tell people I got put out on an island, for the first time in my life where I was by myself and I didn't have other people holding me up and keeping me straight, where I realized that I have to form my own relationship. Yeah. So it was in that moment where the switch flipped, and I was starting to build my relationship with him, and I came back here into Arkansas Tech, and I started building my foundation for myself so that when I could go out to Liberty, although it was a huge Christian school and I was surrounded by people there, but I had a foundation going 14 hours away from home,
right,
with my wife, and I was able to stand on my own 2 feet and withstand the challenges, because there definitely was some challenges.
Yeah. So when you went from Arkansas Tech to as the player of the year in the conference in Division II, which you guys went. What was the school in Minnesota that you went to the first round?
Minnesota State, Mankato.
You guys gave them all they wanted. That was a 1 seed. You guys were like an 8 seed coming in, and it was like you almost pulled it off. But when you left Arkansas Tech, you jump into the transfer portal. You've left everything that you know. You just mentioned that you were married. Mm-hmm. Were you married that year, or did you get married in between the time that you went to then in Liberty?
I got married in the transfer period, right, in between.
So there you've got all of this change and all of this upheaval, but you're going to Liberty. And what was your mindset going to from that D2 school to the D1 school? I mean, was it I'm giving this my shot, or what was it that you were thinking when you went to Liberty?
Yeah, it was a little bit of everything. I was like, I feel like I've put in the work here, and I've kind of earned a chance again to go back and prove to myself what I thought I could do my freshman year and play, but also with the maturity of knowing that I'm going up. I want to challenge myself. I don't want to go in where something's going to be given to me and where I'm just going to be able to dominate without working, So I knew that going into it, which is why, I came off the bench. I was preparing for my pro career where I wouldn't go and have everything handed to me. So, and I knew that going into it, and I would say that's a testament to the people I have in my circle who have kind of matured me in that way. So I knew going to Liberty was going to be a challenge. I was going to have to work for everything that I had, and I felt that I was prepared to do that. So whenever I got there, put my head down and got to work and was okay with what I had dealt to me.
So you're flying under the radar this whole time. I mean, you're talking about high school, you're flying under the radar, college, you're flying under the radar, but you're at Liberty. And when you first got there, it wasn't like they looked at you and said, "Hey, you're a draft pick." There, I mean, you were just getting your feet underneath you, right? What was the switch that flipped there, though? Because you went from being that guy that maybe got a few minutes here and a few minutes there off the bench to now you're one of their top players. I know you won the Sixth Man of the Year, but did you not start some by the time the year was over?
No, I came off the bench the rest of the year. Yeah, but it was a challenge. It was something that I've been under the radar my whole life, and me and the people closest to me, I would say, I believed this whole time. If anybody asked, I told them I was going to the league.
Right.
And as much as somebody could have doubted, there were nothing made me waver from that. I knew, and I didn't care what anybody else thought. I knew I was gonna get what I was gonna strive for, and I wasn't gonna stop till I got there. So between that and then, just God opening the doors for me to step through and perform, I was able to achieve a lifelong dream.
So you guys at Liberty began to gain traction as well. As you're gaining traction, Liberty's gaining traction. You get to the NCAA tournament. So that's another. It's got to be a dream for you to be able to be on that stage. Tell us what that was like.
It was an amazing experience to be able to do something that everybody dreams about as a kid with a group of guys that you become so close with. Um, it's an unbelievable experience. Like, we didn't get the outcome we wanted, but we had achieved so much, and we weren't going to let that one game diminish what we had accomplished that year. So obviously we're going to use that. They're going to use that as a stepping stone next season, and hopefully they can get there and win a game or whatnot. But for us, it was a great experience. Even though we had to travel all the way to Seattle again, but
Right.
it was. I wouldn't change it for the world, man. It was a once in a lifetime experience.
So now you're getting through the season. You're at the end of the year. You've got a decision that you've got to make. You got to figure out, okay, can I get another year of eligibility? Do I enter my name into the draft? What was it? So how did all of that process come together to get you to a point where you were working out for teams?
Yeah, I knew I was gonna test the waters. Throughout the year, we had talked about trying to get my year back, just to get another year of development in the system under my belt that might have, helped propel my chances of making it in the draft or making it to the NBA. But I knew that I was going to have some workouts before I had to withdraw my name, and, push came to shove. I didn't get the results I wanted with the year. So I had to go all in, give it 100% all I had, and I'm beyond grateful for all the opportunities I had to get in front of people, because obviously, I didn't get invited to Portsmouth. I didn't get invited to the G League Combine or the NBA Combine. So, only 7 teams got to see me. So I'm still kind of under the radar.
Right.
Which ended up working out. So nobody else kind of knows what I got. But yeah, it's how else can you explain that?
Right.
As they said last night, the first player ever to get drafted not ranked in the top 100. It's so many things that I know that it wasn't me.
Right.
It was somebody else that had ordered those steps.
Sure.
And put my name in people's minds to draft me. So it's a supernatural thing that I think happened that I know that I have on my side. So
Right.
I walk in any room with that confidence. I think I'm going to be all right.
That's really awesome attitude to have about it. So you worked out for 7 teams. What were those teams?
Boston, Charlotte, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Indiana, Houston, and San Antonio.
So what was the feedback that you got? Did you have any inkling when you left that workout that you might get drafted?
Maybe not drafted, but definitely most of the workouts I left feeling like I would get a shot in one way or another. I would get a shot. So
yeah,
I knew that I would have a shot, but with the help of my agent Sean, he was able to pull it off last night. So I'm beyond grateful.
So when was it that you knew that you were going to get drafted?
My agent Sean called me at the 52nd pick and told me that they were thinking about taking me and to have my phone ready. So by the 53rd pick, I got a phone call from my man Ryan Carr, and he asked me how I was doing, and I said, it depends on how this phone call goes. And he was like, well, do you want to be a Pacer? And I said, absolutely. And having everybody around me, and after I hung up the phone call, everybody started going crazy, and they embraced me, and it was one of the most special moments I've had in my entire life.
Something that you'll remember for a lifetime.
Absolutely.
Basketball one day will be over, but that moment will always remain because of what you have achieved as a basketball player. I sit here and I look, and you've got the Pacer shirt on, and I think, well, I can go out and buy one of those, but you got that one. That one is given to you because you are an Indiana Pacer.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to be some sort of surreal feeling.
Yeah, man. Everybody who sees me in the Pacers shirt probably thought before last night that I went out and bought this, but that's a part of my story that I love, and that I'll never take for granted.
Right. Tell us, somebody's going to watch this story, and they're going to look at this and they're going to say, well, if this guy did it, maybe I can do it. Now, I'm going to sit here and tell you right now, or tell somebody that would be watching that might be thinking that, you better have some pretty good athleticism to go along with whatever game, because as you said, people look at you as a shooter, but you're a 6'10" high jumper. It takes a special type of athleticism to even get a look. But at the same time, here you are as a kid that had one D1 offer. It was Tennessee Tech. People don't go to the NBA from Tennessee Tech. You transfer back home to Arkansas Tech. People don't go to the NBA from Arkansas Tech. You get a chance after being the player of the year, and literally every year your numbers go from 7 to 13 to 20 or whatever it was at Tech. You become the player of the year. That doesn't happen. That kind of growth doesn't happen. And then all of a sudden now here you are, you go to Liberty, and in December, I'm sure most people were saying, this kid's not going to – they're not even thinking you're going to get drafted, and then all of a sudden you do. So obviously, like you said, you feel like there's something going on that's beyond what we're talking about. But what would you say to a kid that has that dream, that obviously has some attributes to go along with it? Because obviously, a guy like me who could play ball, I was a good player in high school, but I wasn't anything like you. But what would you say to somebody who has those abilities, because they have to have some special ability to go along with it, but maybe flying under the radar? What would you say to them?
Yeah, you definitely got to have some skill and some athleticism. But for me, don't let anybody tell you can't. And you can do it from anywhere. If I've done anything for these kids to look up to, it's you can make it from anywhere. Being in Russellville, I didn't play on a circuit. I didn't play, high major. I didn't do all the things that people think you have to do to make it. But mostly, don't let anybody tell you that you can't, because they don't know what you do on a daily basis. They don't know how hard you worked. I worked really hard, and I've had some people say that I wasn't good enough, and that maybe I was making the biggest mistake of my life in transferring or moving to so many schools or taking a big risk. But I bet on myself, and I knew who I had behind me, and I never quit on myself. I'll say that. If anybody believed, it was me. And as long as you believe in yourself, that's all it takes. That's all you need.
That's it. What are the Indiana Pacers getting in Taelon Peter?
First and foremost, a man of faith. And secondly, somebody who's had to work really, really hard for everything they've got. So somebody who's going to come in and work, but also somebody who's not going to complain about, what's given. I've done a lot with a little bit. So somebody who's going to fulfill a role and not be upset with minutes and just put their head down and grind, because somebody who believes in themselves, that knows that they're capable of succeeding at the highest level. I'm a great teammate, a great character guy. I'm not going to bring any drama. All the things, whatever they need, I'll be it.
That's it. Appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That's it. All right, Mom. So here we are. Tell me, if somebody had told you 3 months ago that my boy is going to be called in the NBA draft, what would you have said?
Good possibility.
Okay.
Good possibility.
You believed in him. Obviously.
Always believe in him.
Right.
I believe in him more than he does sometimes.
Right.
And so, 100%.
You knew it. You knew it.
Coach McKay didn't help any either when we were there, talking about his extra year back.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, what if he doesn't get an extra year back? And he said, he goes pro. And he said, just like that.
Right.
He goes pro. What a silly question. And we were like, okay, I think he's really real. Amazing coach. Yeah. And what Coach McKay says, it just resonates.
Right.
He's amazing.
So you've watched this kid all the way up. I mean, Pee Wee games, not here, but just over there, right? And the old Cyclone gym, right? You've seen this kid grow up, but growing up all the way, an amazing talent because of the ability that he has to jump, right? That's where it started. We talked about it. 6'10" high jump, right?
Definitely.
But nobody expected him to be able to get himself to where he's at today in
No.
basketball.
There might have been a couple people.
Right. Not very many.
Definitely not
Besides
many.
you and
Yeah.
maybe one or two others, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So how did we get from a young man who lit it up from his senior year in basketball in high school on, how did we get to where we're at today?
2 words: hard work, dedication. That kid is amazing.
Right. So he definitely is able to develop a shot. I was on the front row for that. I watched him here as a senior covering him. He wasn't known as a guy that could step out and shoot the three. And then as that year came on, that 3 ball began to fall more and more and more. And, as he said, now they're looking at him as a shooter and a guy that can surprise you with his athleticism. But a 6'10" high jumper is a pretty good surprise, right?
They blend well together.
Right.
Once he started jumping the hoops and the dunking, you could see it, his little 10-step process.
Right.
He would do it out there starting at half court. And you're like, here it comes, because he's starting his, now he doesn't need that because he just jumps.
So tell us how we got there. I mean, he's obviously blessed with something, right? I mean, he's 6'4". What is his vertical leap?
I'm not quite sure.
It's up there.
It's up there.
It's high.
38, I don't know.
Ish.
Yeah. Plus, possibly.
That's the same one Kobe Bryant had in the combine, by the way, 38 inches.
Okay. Yeah.
So he's 6'4". He's blessed with athleticism for sure. But how did he get to that point of he's going to dunk on you? I mean, his senior year was something to watch. I mean, it was something to watch. I don't know of anybody in the state that dunked as much as he did that year. I mean, he was a high flyer. And this place was filled up.
Literally.
Because of that.
I watched films of that too, and the place just erupted.
Oh,
There's one that there was a steal, and then Ryan got a dunk, and then Taelon came out of the pack with it, and the whole place in here you could just, and then he dunked it. Everybody went crazy. Like, memories made.
Yeah.
For everybody.
You just, at least in this area, you just don't see that. I mean, kids in Little Rock, there are some, but even at that, the athleticism is just different. It's just different.
He gets it from his mama.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Put my 2 cents in on that.
Okay. Were you a high jumper?
No, I wasn't. I did play volleyball.
Okay.
I played some basketball.
Okay.
But volleyball was my main sport.
Well,
We come from athletic genes.
Sure.
My dad was the first heavyweight wrestler at my high school at Rolling Story
Okay.
in 71.
Okay.
And so there's
All
some
right.
genes of athleticism in there.
It's there.
It's there. Yeah.
So you were there, front row seat, though. You've watched him leave here, go to Tennessee Tech. What was that like to watch him go from here to Tennessee Tech? It was the only Division I offer that he had coming out of high school. What was that like to let him go, knowing that he was struggling? He was hurting out there. What was that like? What was that?
That was the biggest move.
Yeah.
1, it was the first move.
Right.
2, it was 7 hours away.
Yeah.
So it wasn't something we could just jump and get together again.
Right.
And then COVID.
Right.
Nothing was normal that year. So I'd talk to him every night, and he'd be in his room. Because that's all they could do was sit in the room. And then they'd go to practice. And so there wasn't a lot of – so that was a big growth year for him. So everything comes full front. That was a growth year for him. And a lot developed in that time. He got really one with himself. He had to spend a lot of time alone because that's what you did during COVID.
Right.
And so that was a big growth year for him. The move wasn't bad. And with COVID, there was a lot of breaks. So he did end up driving that 7-hour drive a lot more than we ever thought he would, because they'd be shut down because somebody had COVID. So they'd have a 2-week break, and he'd pack his bags and head on home. And so, yeah, it was a good move for us. It got us ready. And then he came back. And so,
And then he starts having high success. I mean, well, I say that it didn't start off that way at Tech. I mean, at Arkansas Tech. So he goes from Tennessee Tech to Arkansas Tech. It didn't start off that way. Tell us, when was it that you saw that at Arkansas Tech that the switch flipped and he starting to become the Taelon Peter that we know today?
Believing in himself.
Yeah.
You got to believe in yourself. And when he got picked to go to Tennessee Tech, they had told him, you're not quite ready for this level, but in 2 years, you are going to be out the roof. Like, so they already knew and, like, humbled him a little.
Right.
So he got to go there. And they already knew he was growing. And that's something about Taelon. Like, every game he gets better still till this day.
Yeah.
And that's what the Pacers are lucky for because, like, he's a great coachable kid. He's humble. He brings this energy. And he's so teachable. Like, he's still growing. Like, and that's the cool thing about him is that his game is not fully developed yet either. And so that's very cool about Taelon.
It is interesting, a guy that shot the ball as well as he did, 45% from three. I think I heard on the ESPN broadcast that he led the NCAA in true shooting percentage.
I think I read that as well. He set a school record for single season 3 points at Liberty this year.
That's awesome.
He set a record of coming off the bench with the most points. I mean, that's what he does.
Sixth man of the year in Conference USA. But it didn't start out that way there either. I mean, at Liberty, there was still a growth time. It was a learning curve there. And then, again, kind of like at Arkansas Tech, there was a switch that flipped at some point. And you say it's just belief.
Believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Put yourself out there. Like, he never got 1,000 points here because he's so selfless.
Yeah.
Like, if he would have shot every shot, like, shoot the ball.
Right.
And he passes it.
Right.
Like, have you ever met a kid to get taken out because he didn't shoot the ball?
Right.
Now you've met him, Taelon. You know, it's like, shoot the ball or sit down.
Right.
And it's like, shoot it.
And I think, anybody that's maybe from the Pacers that might watch this is something that they look at his numbers, they say 13 points per game. Why did we draft the guy that only averaged 13 points per game? But you really have to look that by the time he got to the end of that year, he was putting up 20 points per game in Conference USA.
Going 7 for 7.
Right.
I mean, look at the stats. He didn't just take wild shots.
Right.
I mean, he was going right. It was looking good.
You've always believed because, I mean, obviously a mother and a son, I mean, that's just part of it, right? I mean, if mom don't believe in you, nobody's going to believe in you. But when do you think you saw maybe the athleticism or what it was that he might have the ability to get to where he wants to go?
Probably junior year, sophomore year it started. Junior year, we moved to Alma.
Right.
That was a little change of scenery. And then I think it's almost like he appreciated more when he came back here.
Right.
And that was when the hard work, dedication with Cade, early mornings, up here every morning at 5, putting up shots, just the two of them.
Sure.
And that was where it was like, okay,
right.
He's really, right, he's doing this.
He's believing in himself.
Straight up. And so, yeah, that's exciting. And he's many hours in this gym.
Right.
That gym, the other gym, any gym that'll open the door.
Right.
He'll be there.
When you came back, Kyle Pennington was the coach.
Great coach.
Right. Tell us a little bit about the relationship there between him and Kyle.
Right. That, super special. So lucky to have him. I had to call him and say thanks because it all starts with a good coach. You know, good man, good role model, good everything. And then he just worked with Taelon. He let Taelon do him, but yet he was there, advice with the other coaches that were contacting him.
Right.
He never hesitated to tell Taelon, give him options. It's like, starts with that. I think it's love Kyle Pennington.
Yeah.
He's one of a kind.
Definitely.
He helped the process a lot.
I think that the way you put it, he's one of a kind for sure.
Yeah.
And he lifted the program when he came here and built belief. So obviously he built belief in Taelon as well.
Definitely.
That he could do.
Yeah.
And I've talked to him a little bit. He's coached some really good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he
shows you.
Right. Well, he told me that Taelon's right up there with him. I mean, he's coached some super athletes as well. So when he got to Liberty, I mean, again, he's a long way away, all that. Maybe started struggling a little bit, but he's got a wife to depend on now a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's a little different this time. Obviously, I assume that Tennessee Tech probably played a role in the ability to adjust to out there.
Yeah, Liberty is one of a kind too. When we went for the visit, it was like it felt so right that I don't even know that he had a gap period when he went, that he didn't feel in the place that he wanted to be,
Right.
just because the coaches and the staffs and the people in the university, they were so supportive, ridiculous. Like I don't know that he ever went, because he went straight to the gym,
Yeah.
and he was. I mean, it was just a different environment. It was amazing. I'm like Liberty.
So when did this thing become real to you that he really might either make a team or he may hear his name called in this draft?
I guess when we learned that he wasn't getting that 5th year back.
Yeah.
Because he was going to try, but then timing, so he had to make a choice. And so it was like either fight for a year back and stay in college or do what we planned to do.
Right.
Go pro. And so wherever he landed, we knew he'd be landing somewhere. And so
Right.
now this, it's like, Houston, we have landed. Like, I'm not sure
Right.
exactly, because I'm just like, my mouth hurts, my jaws hurt, because
Right.
I've been like,
You just don't even know what to do, right?
well, right. And then, like, my kid's in the NBA.
Right.
My son got drafted last night. Like,
Right.
surreal.
Right.
Very. It's such a proud moment.
Absolutely.
I cried a lot. We laughed a lot. Cried a little more. Got in the pool afterwards.
Right.
He got drafted, and he's like, to the pool. And, man, everybody ran out the door like a herd of cattle. And we were jumping in. It was amazing.
A moment that you'll probably always remember.
Forever.
Forever.
Had everybody with him at my mom's. We were at Granny's. Favorite foods, loved ones, family, friends. And yeah, it got real loud, as you can hear our voices.
Right.
I feel like I was at a game last night and I wasn't.
Well, as he said, you got drafted, and he's the first guy that ever got drafted outside the top 100. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff. Some would call it weird. Some would call it coincidence. He says it's God directing his steps. I mean, is that what you
Facts.
think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a single mom, but I know I'm not single because I'm never alone.
Right.
And that's who's helped me with it all. He's walked with Taelon. He walks with all of us.
Right.
Never alone. And believing that it's not in our hands. And look at what happens.
Right.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
It's pretty special.
So, what do you think the Pacers are getting in Taelon Peter?
Oh, man. A great person, good character, a humble guy, somebody that's going to lift others up, not afraid to say when he's wrong, a hard worker, teachable, listener, just a role model for other people. You just don't know. He's meant to be there, and he's going to touch a lot of lives, that's for sure.
I didn't even ask him this, but let's say 5 years from now, where do you see your son? What will he be doing?
Hopefully, maybe a grandbaby or two. That's mom's opinion.
Right.
And hope he'll still be playing ball. I'm not sure where. I think the Pacers is going to be a great fit for him, just because their beliefs and his beliefs,
Right.
they line up. That was one thing during the camps. It was like you could tell different camps went different ways.
Right.
They had different systems, you
Sure.
know, and just the organization and how they run it.
Right.
I think, yeah, he's just super cool, dude.
What is it to you? What is it like to think my son is on the team that just played for the NBA championship, Game 7? I mean, they were right there.
Right there. Yeah, it's surreal. And next year, I'm going to say they're going to be predicted to be back.
Right.
So who knows what the first season could lead to. I mean,
Who knows?
we got 2 rings in 2 years. Why not 3?
You've got
I mean, yeah,
you've got an NBA summer league that you got to get to first, though, right?
looking for tickets now. I'm looking them up right now. And so we'll see. At least the first one, you got to make it just
Right.
to knock the dust off, be there,
Right.
and go to Vegas.
There you go.
I'm just saying. I think it sounds fun. I think I just have to take it all in tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up and be like, did that really happen again? Because this morning I woke up, my eyes popped open at 6, and I've been going ever since.
Right.
And had to put the phone down last night. Finally, I was like, okay, we got to get horizontal. You got to shut your eyes, girl. We're never going to go to sleep.
Right.
And so finally I did, put it on the charger, lay down, fell right asleep. First movement I heard, I was up this morning. I was like, I was ready to go again.
Right.
So, but yeah, about to go back and get in that pool again, celebrate some more.
There you go.
All weekends. So that's what's up.
All right.
I appreciate everything. The community, it's amazing. Russellville support, the shout outs. It's just a great community. That's for sure. It's helped out a lot in the process.
There's one other guy in Russellville ever that's been drafted in the NBA, and he definitely made some waves. He made some history in this community.
Yeah.
But when you look up there, there's one in the rafters that's been drafted. I think there might need to be a second one. What do you think?
Pretty sure it's coming. Come next season, we'll lift something up there. That's for sure. Should be that number 2 jersey. Retire it. Let's leave it in good measures.
Put Peter above it.
Peter above it.
Love
That's it. I can see it already. It's exciting. Very blessed. Very blessed. Thank you very much for coming in, talking to him,
All right.
spreading the word. Let's get it out there. If they didn't know him, now they do.
Right.
So
right.
check out his highlights.
There you go.
It's pretty amazing.
All right. Do you have anything from high school from him that I could maybe, like any videos at all? I used to have some, but
I have that one that I was telling you all about the whole when he comes out of the pack and everybody just like sees him with the ball and everybody just erupts.
Right.
And I mean, we're talking like 2020. This place was packed.
Oh, I know.
Like it wasn't here, there, over there. No, this place was packed. And that night, Corliss and them came.
Mm-hmm.
Corliss Williamson night.
Yep.
Standing room only. Just like the BB game. When the conference champion, I think it was BB or Valonia.
Yeah.
You went down there and they were letting one in, one out. And it was standing room only, and it was just electric.
Yeah, high school wise, these types of gyms, they don't fill up very much.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
they're big.
Yeah, they're huge.
They're huge, but
yeah.
Yeah, so I'll have to send you that video. I'll send you a couple.
Yeah, I'd like to have it. I'd like to have it.
For sure, because that's one of them. Going down in history.
Yeah.
Now, right. The journey continues.
The journey continues, right?
Isn't that exciting?
That's good.
Next chapter, next season.
All right.
I'm excited.
Well, let's bring Marquise in. Let me get his perspective. And I don't know.
For sure, twin.
Right? I don't know if
yes.
Come on. Who's sitting at the front at the nursing home?
Nobody today.
Uh-oh.
I definitely had to let them know, it's going to be a long night for me. I think I ended up going to sleep around 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Just up. It's hard to just sit still. I mean, it's a surreal moment, Us, we grew up playing basketball games on the PlayStation and all that, so just knowing that he's going to be a part of that is going to be crazy. And yeah, the sky's the limits for him.
Right.
Literally, yeah.
Now, are you guys twins?
Yes, fraternal twins. Yes, sir. And it's kind of crazy because I don't know the scientific stuff behind it, but I guess I was a complicated twin, and he was born like an hour and something before I was. So like crazy. Yeah, he used to hold it over my head, being an hour early,
right,
hour older than me. But yeah, not so much anymore. But yeah.
So what was it like to watch his journey? I mean, I've talked about it with your mom and with him. I mean, what's it like to see? I mean, again, I didn't expect this. I didn't expect it last night.
But, it was just, crazy. Honestly, I was just telling Kate over there, I was like, man, I still remember the first AAU travel ball game that he went up and dunked the ball on a fast break, and it was just like, after that moment, I don't think he ever shot too many layups after that. It was pretty much just jump as high as you can and throw it down. And, and then just from travel ball to middle school, junior high, and just seeing him every year just slowly develop and get better and better and focus on the things that he wasn't as strong at. And now I can't even think of too many weaknesses that he's got in his game.
Right.
So,
yeah, his game has definitely developed. I mean, it's different than it was here, and it's different than it was when it started at Tennessee Tech, and it's different than it was when it started at Arkansas Tech. And I mean, even being able to develop into being the the conference player of the year, it's still probably different now to the point where the sixth man of the year award there in the Conference USA. And I mean, what a absolute awesome achievement that he had, where he goes from being the conference player of the year in D2 to trying to find his way into a D1 program to eventually becoming the sixth man of the year. And we talked about how he started off a little bit slow at Liberty, but by the end of the year, he was blowing up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just all about his confidence, just going from, comfortable and having like tight friends at Tech that he's known his whole life, and then going, 14 hours to Virginia, and then meeting new people, new coaches. I bet you it was ran completely different than he had been used to. And so once he felt like he found his stride and just started, feeling like he was more incorporated in the game up at Liberty, I just think that's when he started thinking, you know what, I can ball with these guys, D2, he showed out, and he even, it didn't take him very long to start showing out in D1.
Right, and all the way up to being drafted. And, I mean, for me, that's still hard to wrap my mind around, just because I covered him in high school. I'd see you at work. Hey, how's the brother? What's he doing? What's going on with him? Always just trying to get an update for what was going on. And then all of a sudden, here we are now. We're sitting here, and we're talking about an NBA draft pick.
Literally, it's just crazy. And then whenever I found out he was just working out with these NBA teams, it felt like just showed more and more how real this is becoming, because, I mean, like, not everybody gets to experience that, let alone just to get to work out with some of these teams. And for one of those teams to actually draft him and want him to be a part of their organization, it just speaks a lot on his character. He's a great ball player, but I think his character is going to carry him a long way with the Indiana Pacers.
What do you think the Indiana Pacers are getting in Taelon Peter?
I truly feel like they're getting a guy that can play very different roles. Like Tech, if he needed to be the guy with the green light that needed to get you guys a bucket or score for you, or, create that spark, he did. Or if he just needed to find his role, either coming off the bench or just being that sixth man that can just come in and keep that energy up. I just think they got a all-around steal, honestly. Not many people would think that he's capable of doing a lot of what he can do, and that's just the sneaky factor he's got on him. It's just a lot of people didn't really put him in the best light to just be this guy that's going to get drafted, and then for him to just prove everybody wrong every single time, it's just really motivational,
I mean, I think, the theme of all of this has been, he's went from under the radar to under the radar to under the radar to even now under the radar. I mean, he's a second-round pick. But, I mean, what has happened to him just doesn't happen. I mean, kid from Russellville, Arkansas, there's one kid in the whole history of Russellville that's ever been drafted in the NBA. That's a guy that ended up being the most outstanding player of the NCAA and all that stuff. I mean, even with Taelon now, it's that part is different, but the fact that there's only been one, that's where we're at. That was 30 years ago. And then, going from high school where 0 stars, going to Tennessee Tech. Nobody goes to the NBA from Tennessee Tech.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to the NBA from Arkansas Tech. Liberty doesn't even send that many to the NBA if they, not very many at all.
I want to say they said it was like 1989 or some crazy, separation from the last player that went from Liberty. And I think they even said this was probably the highest one of the Liberty players has ever gone in the draft. So I thought that was pretty awesome too. He's just known for breaking records at this point.
It's just different. There's just there's a different aura about everything that's went on with Taelon. And, of course, he's gotten off into the religious part of it.
Yeah.
And nothing wrong with that at all. There has to be something good going on there, right?
Yeah, literally. That's one thing I loved about Liberty is they helped him, grow a very strong relationship with God, and him just putting all his faith into that, knowing that he's going to carry him across the finish line and look at what all he's done. Every single time even the ups and downs. When he was down, he stayed true to the process, and it just shows. Literally last night when they called his name. And,
Sure.
And I'm just like I was telling them, I got this weird sensation in my hands just thinking about what all is going to be going on within this next year and just how much his life is just going to change for the better.
Right. What was it like growing up with him? I mean, you guys, I know you were more into football.
Yes, I was a football guy.
Right.
He always kept me pretty passionate about basketball, always taking me outside. We had this little kind of run-down basketball goal, had pieces of the backboard missing. But, man, we'd just be out there recording ourselves, making videos of us shooting, dunking, and just, making basketball just what it is. It's just ultimately a fun game to play.
Right.
And then, just growing up with them and just I think it's crazier because I'm his brother, and it's just like, I feel like I can give him all the trash talk and all that, but it's just like to see him continue to grow as a basketball player and just a young man is just like, it's just a beautiful thing to see. And I feel like I have the best seat in the house for it. And, I wouldn't want to be anywhere else or have another brother. He's just the best thing,
It's good stuff. So what do you think when now you're going to get a chance to maybe even see him? Oh, you will. You'll see him on TV.
Literally, yeah.
With the summer league. I mean, they basically just about every game seems like on TV now.
Yeah.
What's that like to think? My brother about to be out in Las Vegas at the NBA Summer League, and who knows what happens from there, right?
Yeah, I just know when he goes, he's just going to go do what he does best, and that's just play basketball. And I know there's going to be a lot of eyes on him, and I know he's going to put on for the cameras. He's going to definitely show what Taelon can do. But, yeah, it's just going to be crazy turning on the TV and just saying, oh, hey, is that Taelon checking into the Indiana Pacers Summer League game? And, I was just making jokes saying whenever that jersey releases, man, I'm going to need to get me one.
Right.
Because I'm going to wear it every day, and I'm not going to wash it, wear it every game, going to build some good luck on that thing.
There you go.
But, yeah, I'm excited. I just can't even – words can't describe how excited and happy I am for him and just our family in general. This is just a beautiful moment for us. And it's just, like you said, it was a little unexpected, but then when it happens, it's just you have no other choice but to believe it's happening and know it's real.
I think that's good right
All righty,
there,
man. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.